Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you are in the world. And welcome to our watch-along commentary here for the clash between the Springboks and New Zealand from the Mount Smart Stadium in Auckland. It's cold here in Pretoria. It's probably a little bit colder there in Auckland. And I'm joined by Mr. Ken Borland this morning. We'll get straight into it. Let's go through the team sheets here. First off, the hosts, New Zealand, starting with the front row. Ethan de Groot, Cody Taylor and Tyrell Lomax will be the front row for the All Blacks. Brodie Retallick and Scott Barrett, the lock pairing. Shannon Frizzell and Sam Cane on the flanks, and Ardie Savia at number 8. To the back line, Aaron Smith, Richie Mo'unga at 10. Aaron Smith 9, of course. Mark Talia and Will Jordan on the wings. Jordie Barrett and Rico Ioane. Jordie Barrett playing his 50th match. They are the centre pairing, and Bowden Barrett at number 15. Ken, if you want to take us through the Springbok side.
Yeah, good morning, Otto, and hello to all our listeners. The Springbok side, including 9 starting players who were amongst the 14 who went over early to New Zealand, and 1 more on the bench. So 5 players from that very impressive victory over the Wallabies at Loftus Versfeld last weekend. The Springbok team going from fullback, Willie Leroux. On the wings, we have Cheslin Colby and Makazole Mapimpi. Centres, the old pairing, playing together for the 28th time, which is just 1 short of the record held by Jean de Villiers and Jacques Fourie. Lukhanyo and Damien Dialenda starting at Mount Smart today for the Springboks. Halfbacks, Damien Willemse and Faf de Klerk. The loose trio, Jasper Wiese, Franco Mostert and Kwagga Smith. In the second row, Loot Diaga and the captain, Eben Etzebeth. And of course, our condolences go out to Eben and his family with the very sad passing of his father, Harry, earlier this week. And the front row for the Springboks, Frans Malherbe, Bongi Manambi and Stephen Kitsoff, the same front row that dismantled the Wallabies last weekend. On the bench, as we head towards the haka for the Springboks, Malcolm Marx, Thomas du Toit and Vincent Koch, the bomb squad front row. Ergie Snyman, Peter Steph du Toit and Dwayne Vermeulen, the other forwards, in a 6-2 split. And the 2 backline replacements, Grant Williams and Mani Lebok. What a bench that is.
Indeed, 797 caps in the starting lineup. And that's nearly 350 more caps than last week. And for all these stats, we do thank our colleague, Coach Dave. And we're also going to be joined here by Anis Mohammed. Let me add him in here. Good morning, Anis.
Hello. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. How are you guys?
No, very well, thank you. As I'm watching the haka here at the moment, and I'm going to be happy to step back a little bit today. My power is going to be coming back on at about 10 o'clock, they say. So I should be good to go for the second half. So Anis and Ken, over to you guys.
Well, let's hope the Springboks have power right from the outset, Otto, because they're going to need it probably. Anis, I reckon this is going to be an All Black side as they go through the haka, who are going to come out and try and play at a really high tempo and almost try and run the Springboks off their feet, a bit like they did at Ellis Park in the last meeting between the 2 sides last year.
Yeah, from minute 1, the Springboks have to be on it. They can't start as slowly as they did against Australia last week, because we saw how New Zealand started against Argentina last week, where they just ran rampant in the first 15 minutes, and that's where they scored the majority of their points. Argentina last week outscoring the All Blacks in the second half, so I think they were working on their defense. But the South African team has to be on it from a minute 1, as unfortunate as it is, with the condolences and the passing of Eben Etzebeth's dad, I think that might just motivate this team to attempt to run over this All Black team in tribute to Eben's dad.
And the All Blacks doing the Kapo e Pango haka with very strong throat-slitting gestures today. Great to see, of course, a haka that was brought back, instituted partly to celebrate the return of the great rivalry between the Springboks and the All Blacks. And what a great rivalry it has been in the last few years. Just adding to what you said, and he's probably a little concerning for the Springboks that they started slowly last weekend against the Wallabies, and also with those 9 starters who have been in New Zealand first test match of the year as well. So it's going to be a fascinating first quarter that could well set the tone for this test match.
First 15 minutes, in my opinion, is going to be all important as the kickoff comes in. South Africa playing from left to right, and it is taken into the New Zealand 22. They clear and scramble, and they try to run it from the 22. Pop pass goes way back to the fullback, and he clears his line. Does not find touch, though, as the Springboks are now running it upfield. At the far end touchline, Faf du Plessis has the ball. Not Faf du Plessis, Faf de Klerk has the ball, but there was a knock on, and it will be a scrum to the All Blacks. Again, the Springboks need to keep everything as structured as possible to avoid the New Zealanders running rampant.
Frans Malherbe just losing possession in contact there. So a good start for the All Blacks, handled the kickoff very efficiently, and they will now have a scrum which is just inside their own half on the far side of the pitch. So they've got a little bit of a blind side to use, which will be useful, no doubt. But the first scrum of the match, always a massively exciting occasion, and the 2 pack weights, well, it doesn't get much closer than this. 918 kilograms for the Springboks, 919 for the All Blacks, as Aaron Smith prepares to put in the ball. And weights out to Barrett, who uses the boot down into the Springboks 22. Willie Leroux is back safely, and he'll kick for the near side touchline. He will find a good touch midway between the 10-metre line and the 22. Quick throw-in by the All Blacks. Here goes Will Jordan, danger man for the All Blacks, and very fortunately a pass goes astray out wide, but it's recovered by Scott Barrett. Smith to Barrett. And bursting through is Shannon Frizzell over the 22-metre line, brought down by Franco Mostert. Quick ball at the ruck. Smith to Barrett. To Rico Ioni. He makes a few meters. And now the All Blacks go the other way to Ethan de Groot, who is swamped by the Springbok defence. And there's a pretty slow ball there at the moment. Out wide again to the left. The All Blacks intercepted by Kwagga Smith. Got himself into the line there. Faf de Klerk will kick and clear pretty much almost straight down the middle of the field, but it's rolling into the All Blacks 22. Johnny Barrett. Out wide to Mark Talea, who runs from his own 22, is absolutely monstered by Eben Etzebeth. All Blacks gets the ball back though. Aaron Smith to Scott Barrett as they set the ruck. All Blacks certainly playing with a high tempo here from the get-go. Short little pass to Frizzell, the man who made the break. Aaron Smith at the base of the ruck again to Bowden Barrett, Richie Munga rather, who launches an up and under. Pretty much from his 22. It's taken by Will Jordan on the 10-metre line. Smith again to Brody Retallick. Tackled by Luit de Jager. Onga again. And Shannon Frizzell handing off defenders. He's made a powerful start to the game. There's some fancy sidestepping here. Oh, lovely hands by the All Blacks as they create space out wide. Kane to Talia, little shimmy. Gains him a yard or two. Smith.
Advantage to All Blacks.
Yeah, piling in defence. And I guess the infringement had to come. The All Blacks still in possession, just outside the Springbok 10-metre lines. Smith to Sam Cane again fights over the 10-metre line, making a couple of metres there. Smith to Scott Barrett. Met by fierce Springbok defence. The All Blacks attacking the short side here. Mark Talaya, brought down by Lukanyam and Cheslin Colby. Smith recycles. Monga out the back to Bowden Barrett. A beautiful long pass out to Will Jordan by Willie LaRue down the besides the ankles. But Jordan gets up again. He plays the ball. And the All Blacks will have their first try. He weaves his way through the remaining defenders and a short little pass to Aaron Smith to score under the poles.
They're going to have to check that. I think a defender was in the way of one of the tacklers that allowed Barrett to regather the ball to get back up and pick.
Not sure yet. It's been referred to referee TMO.
It probably won't be referred. Yeah, he ran right in front of, I think it was Mapimpi. You see the tackle from Willie LaRue here? Yeah, right in front of Mapimpi, allowing him to get back up and regather the ball.
Mate, I think that's the sort of thing that
just happens.
You won't get that blown up. The All Blacks player was running in to perhaps get an offload, and Will Jordan very cleverly, because he was not held, placed the ball, picked it up, and then continued his run. So Will Jordan with a couple of really dangerous runs so far, and setting up the opening try for Aaron Smith. And the conversion has come in as well. So the All Blacks lead 7-0 in the first 5 minutes. There's that fast start that we were talking about.
Yeah, I was just saying first 15 minutes, need to keep the All Blacks quiet. But last week started exactly the same way. The Box started a bit slow and a bit flat. They need to get possession is what needs to happen. And a penalty off the kickoff against the Springboks.
Yeah, Mark Talaya gathered the kickoff at 40's way out of the 22. And then Aaron Smith passing from the ruck. Lutiago was a lazy runner. It went straight into him. And the All Blacks get the penalty and some relief. It's been kicked a couple of metres into the Springbok half on the near side touchline.
On attack, the All Blacks are just on another level. But the Boks have to step up their defence as the line-out comes in now.
Cody Taylor feeding the line-out just inside the Springboks half, and Brodie Retallick at the front, safe as houses, as the All Blacks rumble forward. The ball goes to ground. And
another penalty.
Another penalty, for collapsing the maul, no doubt, by the Springboks. Referee Mattia Reynal. In his indication of that.
It's a red trap.
He's actually pretty good, Mattia Reynal. I don't think the Springboks have any problem with him. They've had some very good results, very good wins with him officiating. Not the biggest touch finder by the All Blacks. So,
just outside the Springboks 22.
Yeah. And Cody Taylor will feed the line out again. Brodie Retallick again at the front. And this time they break off the maul. Sam Cane passes quickly to Aaron Smith. It's a bit of a wayward pass, but he gathers well. Had to go down on his knees to get it. And Shannon Frizzell will play halfback. He picks up, rumbles forward about half a metre. Kept out of the 22 by staunch Springbok defence. The All Blacks pick and go and are repelled, not making much yardage at the moment. Short ball to Retallick, rather. And Kane has picked up and spilt the ball, but there's an earlier infringement by the Springboks.
Offside. Said Mr. Red. Right in front.
Fell over and almost took out the referee, crashing into his leg. And this should be a very simple penalty for Richie Baunga right in front of the posts.
Who was offside? Was Ebenezer himself? Okay.
I think there were a few guys just in front of the last feet at the rack, so fair enough.
Marginal calls. Well, that was marginal.
Ominous
But it's
signs.
not. Yeah.
Well, the Springboks, as it's been all New Zealand at the moment. Richie Mo'unga now will surely make it a 10-point lead.
Springboks haven't
after 10
had.
minutes.
The
There it
Springboks
goes.
haven't had
Straight to
any
the balls.
possession. That's an easy penalty for the All Blacks. 10-0 to New Zealand. South Africa haven't had much ball. Can't win a rugby match without getting possession. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how they go from here.
Yeah, both kickoffs the All Blacks have handled very well and helped us some Springbok in discipline to get up the field. This one's deep into the corner, and Geordie Barrett goes on a good run, almost makes the 22-meter line. Frizzell again, he's had a very busy first 10 minutes. Takes it forward. All Blacks right. Aaron Smith shapes to kick, but then passes to Bowden Barrett, who launches an up and under to the right-hand corner. Mapimpi, or at least Damien Willemse, couldn't get there. Went up for the catch, but just brushed his fingers and went forward. So a knock on, it'll be a scrum to the All Blacks.
Again, South Africa not being able to get possession. Willemse was in great position to get the ball, ball went just straight through his hands, unfortunately.
Yeah, just misread it a little bit. Could have probably done with being half a metre further forward. And the All Blacks will have a scrum 10 metres in from the far touchline and between the halfway line and their own 10-metre line. Ebenezer just having a few words to his team, no doubt to settle them down a bit. Yeah. It's been a bit of a fraught start for the Springboks, 10-0 down already, and we're just in the 11th minute.
Gonna be, I think now is round about the time that the Springboks do start settling down, but they need possession to try and do some, to try and have an effect on this game. At the moment, New Zealand's controlling the tempo, and they're doing it quite well, trying to run the South African team ragged, as you said at the beginning, Ken.
Yeah, and unfortunately, it's New Zealand possession once again. Another scrum feed for them due to a Springbok error. As the two very evenly matched packs in terms of the weight. And the All Blacks trying to get a bit of a shove on here. They're going forward slightly, and they get the scrum penalty as the Springboks caved inwards there. Francois Herbert looks a bit bemused.
Yeah, if you look at the binding of the New Zealand number 3, he's busy pulling down on Francois Herbert. Yeah, at the near side of us in the scrum. So he's pulling down and wheeling in. So he's, if you just have a look there, you can clearly see he's pulling down on the shirt. So he is basically scrumming into Francois Herbert's armpit, which is forcing the scrum down. So I do not agree with that scrum penalty, but the scrum penalty, it is to New Zealand if they have picked and found touch on the far side touch line.
Short line out by Blacks as they now come streaming over the 10-metre line. Aaron Smith launches it up and under deep into the Springboks 22. Pressure ball. It was taken by Will Jordan, but he knocked on. And then from the knock-on, one of the All Blacks dots the ball down over the try line. But clearly a knock-on there by Will Jordan in the air. But more
very, very anxious moments
for the Springboks. It did seem fairly straightforward with the naked eye. And yes, the scrum has been awarded to the Springboks. So some much-needed possession. Will Jordan beating Mapimpi into the air there. But a very interesting tactic by the All Blacks to kick from just outside the Springboks 22. And it's so nearly paid off for them.
Very similar to the last try of the game in 2016 with the draw, where the box put a kick up in the New Zealand 22, And Aaron Smith got beaten in the air. The scrum is set now.
As
Just watch the
now
binding.
Springboks with some much needed possession, but they're probably just going to have to kick out of their own 22, unfortunately, if they can get the ball safely out of the scrum. Faf de Klerk with his first feed of the game, 5 meters from his own try line. And,
look at the binding.
Scrum. And de Klerk shapes the kicks and then runs, but then passes to Willie Leroux, who will probe the far touchline, and a very good touch indeed by Willie Leroux. Brilliant kick by the fullback. He's taken play all the way to the halfway line.
Marshalling that backline fantastically is Willie Leroux.
He had a very good game last weekend, Leroux, as Cody Taylor feeds the line out, taken by Scott Barrett.
Oh,
and,
well held up.
Shannon Frizzell once again on the charge. He is well held by the Springboks. Aaron Smith now to Maunga, who launches the up. It'll come down just inside the 10-meter line. Did Willie Leroux knock that on? It's back All Black side. Aaron Smith now. Broken field ball for Bowden Barrett. He kicks to the far side touchline, where it was taken by Will Jordan, but well covered by the Springboks. Barrett, Geordie now goes the other way. And Frizzell, his final pass to Talaya just didn't come off, but he's recycled it to Brodie Retallick. Quick ball again now for the All Blacks. Talaya is met by good defence by Lukanya. And now Bowden Barrett, a little chip over the top. It just eludes Richie Maunga. Ball recovered by Sam Kane, though, who's driven back by the Springboks. Smith tied his. Will Jordan comes running at pace to the 22-meter line, and then up front to Cody Taylor, and also to Shannon Frizzell, who overruns the Springbok defence and is over for a try. He's been rampant, the blindside flank thus far, and New Zealand storm into a 15-0 lead in the 16th minute.
Willie Leroux, shades of Mike Cat against Jonah Lomu in 1995. Oh my goodness! What a try from the All Blacks.
Yeah, it was rather a lackluster defensive effort by Willie Leroux, it has to be said. Faf de Klerk missed the slide tackle, and Willie just got basically barged over for the try in the corner.
So the Springboks need to get possession now and start controlling, dictating something. New Zealand are just all over them, taking all the chances they can, playing percentage rugby, and it's working out for them very well. This conversion from the near impact line.
I mean, they're kicking the up and unders.
Beating the Springboks in the air at their own game, which people would say is the Springbok game, the kick and chase game. They're just doing pinpoint accuracy on those kicks, and their jumpers are getting up much higher than the Springboks, much sooner. Just so much better under the high ball tonight are the All Blacks, as the conversion from the near side touchline goes over, and New Zealand 17 points to 0 up.
Great kick by Richie Maunga there. Yeah, and also just the variety in the All Blacks play, really keeping the Springboks guessing, because their runners coming from deep. They've been strong ball carriers by the loose forwards. And I think the Springboks just don't really know whether they're going to be fielding an aerial ball or a front-on assault as they restart yet again deep into the 22 to Mark Talaya, who is brought to ground. Smith to Frizzell, he's everywhere, to Brodie Barrett. They're running again. Maunga gets the ball up wide to Will Jordan, who is brought down just short of the 22. And Etzebeth up very quickly on Brodie Retallick. There might have been offsides. We'll wait to see as Aaron Smith digs the ball out of the ruck just inside the 22, and he will kick.
Keep it down. Oh, shocking pass. Absolutely shocking. Springboks are absolutely shell-shocked at the moment.
It was a quick line-out attempt by Cheslin Colby, who threw it on the bounce to Jasper Visser, who unfortunately couldn't gather the tough bouncing ball there. And we see a very serious
Damien
Springbok coaching. Damien Willemse. Oh, yeah, that was not a very friendly pass to Jasper Visser at all. And really not what the Springboks need at all. It was their lineup, though. They need to just settle down, get their primary phases going, maybe get a maul going. They would have backed themselves to win their own lineup ball there. Referee Reynal, seems to have spotted something. He's sending to Sam Kane.
What?
And it's a penalty for a high tackle that will go South Africa's way. So a much-needed reprieve.
Wait, what's the high tackle? What's the high tackle? I'm so confused.
See a replay shortly, and Damien Willemse, after a moment of madness, will now get the chance to kick for touch. He's going for the far side touchline from just inside his own half, and he has put it about 5 meters from the 22-meter line. It just slipped up, really, by the All Blacks on Jasper Visser after the knock-on. But dangerous play takes precedence.
Wow.
Knock-ons and such things. So the Springboks now with a line out. 5 meters from the 22-meter line, taken by Lutiaga. Faf de Klerk to Damian Dialende, his first touch on the ball. And he makes a yard or two. Faf de Klerk is digging and scrambling. It's a short ball to Frans Malherbe. And now Steven Kitsoff burrowing his way. And, there's pretty much no doubt that he was holding on.
That's interesting. Call again.
Playing a bit like a mole there. Burrowing along the ground towards the 22-meter line. Again, Shannon Frizzell in the thick of things there with a very good tackle on Kitsoff. And Geordie Barrett inside centre will use his big boot to relieve the pressure on the All Blacks. Takes play to the 10-meter line of the Springboks. Is there anything Shannon Frizzell can't do? He also got the turnover there.
That's interesting. The amount of time he had his hands on the ball compared to. We'll see in a bit.
Yeah, well, it wasn't a ruck, and he was on his feet, so I think it's all fine. As the All Blacks run again off the line out, Geordie Barrett held up in midfield, gets them away though. Cody Kaler clears from the ruck under pressure, and then dummies, and then tucks the ball under the arm and makes another meter or two. Picked up at the ruck.
Yes.
But good defence by the All Blacks, by the Springboks, have given it back. Lukhanyo now sidestepping over the 10-meter line. And the ball comes out a bit untidily, but Faf de Klerk finds Kwagga Smith running through. Lutiaga. Springboks just inside the All Blacks half now. Faf de Klerk out left to Willie Leroux, to Damian Dialende. Short little pass to Makazil Roli Mapimpi, who comes infield. Faf de Klerk tries the blind side. And has been pushed into touch, but he's kept the ball alive. And now he picks it up again and passes to Pongi Manambi, who makes some useful yards. Willemse to Kitsoff, slightly in a gap, tumbles over one defender. De Klerk to Willemse, who passes a long pass out wide to Chesson Colby, who cuts right in field, across the field. He's brought down just outside the 22. Leroux to Willemse. To Franco Mostert inside the 22 now. The Springboks close to the near side touchline. Leroux, quick hands to Lutiaga, could take above his head. De Klerk again. Leroux passes inside to Cheslin Colby, well read by the All Blacks defence. But I think they might have infringed at the ruck there. Advantage to the Springboks. They on the 22-meter line of the All Blacks and are being driven back by New Zealand. So referee Reynal says there is no advantage, and he'll go back for the earlier penalty.
We go for, I think, do they take the points now or go for the corner? I'd say go for take the points.
Tough call. You're right. That is a tough call because they are so far behind. I think they're pretty much forced to go for the corner. Would you like to take over play-by-play, Elise?
I'll have a go. As Damien Willemse clears this one, they indeed do go for the corner. We see that the All Blacks diving in off their feet, as the lineout is set about 10 meters out from the New Zealand line. Bongi Monamri to put in. And it goes straight to Kwagga Smith. And, apologies. And the maul is starting. Referee, you said it stopped once. Bongi Monamri is in position at the back. And the rumble is on. One of the Springbok players have lost a shoe. The All Blacks are swimming through. Pops out now to Uamakazola Mapimpi, who gets absolutely leveled. And there's an advantage to the Springboks. And there is a knock on in that rolling maul by one of the All Black players off of their hand. The ball has gone forward. So it is a scrum to the Springboks, basically in the same position as the lineup. It's going to be an interesting attacking scrum from the Springboks. See what they do. They would be very upset to be within the All Blacks 22 and not come away with points, as Willie Leroux is marshalling his backline and Evan Etzebeth is marshalling the forwards.
Yeah, a bit alarming for the Springboks how easily the All Blacks countered their maul there. Definitely had the upper hand in terms of pushing it back, and just fortunate that there was a knock-on. I fancy as they tried to rip the ball off the Springboks, it just went forward.
Not much room on the blind side as the Water Boys are on, sending some messages. Cheslin Colby is busy running around looking for work, running away off of his wing in the earlier passage of play up to the centre, playing in the centres actually, as Billy Leroux took over the fly-off spot in one of the moves. As we see South Africa lined up now, the back line is not very spread very wide, very narrow on this far side, towards the open side. No one on the blind side, as the scrum goes straight down. And
I don't know if you saw, though, that Cheslin Colby was the one man hanging very wide out on his touchline. So they're trying to keep the All Blacks defence narrow, with most of the backline close to the scrum. At the moment, no one on the blind side, which means that they might well use a decoy and move down there. But the fact that Colby is so far up wide means the All Blacks also have to keep an eye on him on the far side of the field. But they need to get the scrum going first, of course. The Springboks have to be reset.
71% possession to the All Blacks at the moment. That is an insane stat 25 minutes into a half, as the scrum is now set again. This is a good one. The ball's not moving. It's come out the side of the flanks. Declared trips over one of his own players. They do indeed keep it narrow as the ball goes to Damien Delende. As now, Jasper Visa at 8. Faf de Klerk gets quick ball again. South Africa are just rumbling forward. Again, Faf is setting up as the forwards rumble on. Again, this one to Kwagga as it goes through. Again, keeping it very tight and narrow. Are the Springboks moving their way down towards the near side of the field? He goes down to the far side to Damien Willemse, who is just shut down by a wall of All Black defenders as the ball squirts out. As Faf de Klerk goes for a cross kick, and it is a try! If Cheslin Colby claims the try, gets the cross kick. They're going to check it.
Yeah, I don't know. I think
Barrett might have
got that down first. But, it's definitely going to be very, very...
Oh, that's tight.
Yes, indeed.
Cheslin Colby's claiming the try.
As you do.
Claiming the try. They did exactly what you said, Ken. They kept the New Zealand defence tight, and they Cheslin Colby on the wing, a cross kick from Faf du Plessis from the back of the ruck. Barrett's got the ball. No, he doesn't. Lost it. Colby. Oh, that's going
it's
to
a
be
clear try.
interesting.
Yes.
Oh, my.
It's all a question of who has the ball under control. And
Oh,
I
it's
would say
Colby.
Bowden Barrett clearly had
Dropped
it
it.
pulled out of his hands, and then it knocked into his knee and off Colby's knee backwards, and then Colby got a hand on it on the ground. So it looks to me like a try.
Oh, my.
Well,
Did he go forward?
from the other angle, Colby juggled it as well on the ground.
Sorry. It's on my laptop. It's bouncing everywhere. Oh, it's going to be an interesting call.
It is. Maybe
Colby's hand, there was downward pressure on the ball from Cheslin Colby. There's downward pressure there. Try. It bounces back up, but there's downward pressure on the ball.
Does he have
we talk about
control?
Yeah.
Pressure is no longer what they look for.
Then it's a knockout. Then it's a knockout. Come on. 3 knockouts. Nah. Home team advantage is going to go 5-meter scrum.
I think Colby's done enough there, personally. I think, as you say, at one time it bounced and he pushes the ball down on the ground.
I would give it. But you're playing in New Zealand.
Well, it'll keep the game more interesting.
No try. Yeah.
Oh, no try.
Goal line dropout.
Oh, but but Bowden Barrett was facing his own dead ball line, so he couldn't have knocked it on.
Yeah, but he didn't have the ball under control.
It doesn't matter. It didn't go forward off Barrett. So it's Colby who's knocked on, which is why it's a goal line dropout.
Wow. All that pressure relieved South Africa. Oh, straight down his throat. Damien Delende pulls this one, and it's a huge knock on. From the knock, the ball goes just outside the South African 22, 10-meter line. Sorry, the ball then just gets sucked all the way to the opposite side of the field, opposite end of the field, went straight through Damien Delende.
Well, Nisa, I said after the very impressive performance against the Wallabies that there would be no pressure on the Springboks in this game, as long as they did not get a hiding. And unfortunately, so far they look like undoing all the good work last weekend, because this is turning into a real nightmare performance for them. So many basic errors. And they're just another one by Damien Delende.
That was absolute under the high ball. The South Africans have been found very wanting. The ball's been out, but turnover from the scrum with the New Zealand put-in turnover. Springboks in possession now. Pap de Klerk pops it over the top of the All Blacks line and bouncing into touch halfway between the 10-meter and the 22. The first error, really, unforced error from New Zealand. The ball squirting out of the back of the scrum as New Zealand take the line up now up to the middle of the park. Brodie Retallick again, always involved. New Zealand clear well. Aaron Smith now. New Zealand put it into the air again. Who is under it? Billy LaRue gets beaten in the air. Knock on, though, in the air by New Zealand. Surely. Play on, says the referee. As it rumbles into the South African in-goal area and dotted down by Cheslin Colby for a 22 dropout. Surely must be a knock-on. Surely must be a knock forward.
Yeah, Billy LaRue certainly gesticulating wildly.
I think that must count
concentrate a
against
bit
him.
more
Yeah.
on his taking of the high ball rather than shouting at the referee. But the one Springbok who has impressed me so far has been Faf de Klerk, getting that
Yes.
turnover at the scrum, putting Aaron Smith under pressure. He's the one guy who does look sharp today and up for it.
I'm really not understand as the ball is restarted straight to the All Blacks win possession now. South Africa on top of now. I would like Ken. I'm going to ask you something. It's penalty to South Africa for New Zealand holding on. The amount of time Vincent Koch was over the All Blacks player with his hands on the ball before the referee blew up New Zealand compared to earlier on in the game. How quickly the referee blew up South Africa for holding on when they were in possession. Good 5-10 seconds.
No, never, and never. You've also, it's not good enough just to have your hands near the ball. The referee's actually got to be satisfied that you would have control of that ball if the other guy wasn't holding on. So sometimes you can see the guy almost digging around a bit before the penalty gets given.
Ongibanambi now with his line out 5 meters out from the New Zealand 22, and it's a turnover from the line out. New Zealand are running it, and they're playing the expansive game, putting it into the air now as Willie Leroux is underneath this one. He takes this one inside his 22, and he sends a bomb down. Not really clears his line, only just makes it past his own 10-meter line for a line out to New Zealand. Ball slapped out of the hands from the New.
Yeah, Brody Retallick getting up in front of Lut Diaga there and almost taking the ball out of his hands. So great work by the All Blacks lockers. The Springboks tight phases continue to creak. The line-out such a vital part of their game. But it's the All Blacks who have the line-out now on the Springboks 10-meter line on the far side of the field. And they've called another short line-out, just a 3-man line-out. But referee Reynal has asked them not to close the gap. And then they closed the gap again. So he's given the Springboks a free kick. Stephen Kitsoff calling for the scrum. As all you and welcome back, Otto Simon.
Yeah, no, it's been a horrific start here for the Springboks in New Zealand, but compared to last week, it's chalk and cheese, Ken. So many penalties against the Springboks, and I was just thinking about it this morning, how few penalties the Springboks conceded against Australia. And this week, it's completely the opposite.
I guess it's about dominance, isn't it? And
yes. No, the All Blacks have been absolutely brutal. Yeah.
So much territory.
Brutal on defence as well. Yeah. Put into the scrum now by the Springboks. Faf de Klerk waiting for it. The Springboks shoving the All Blacks backwards, and they've got the scrum penalty. Faf de Klerk brings it to the midfield. Willie Leroux now in possession over the 10-meter line out to Colbert on the near side touchline. He gets over the 10-meter line. Faf de Klerk has it again into the hands of Jasper Wiese, who's stopped in his tracks. And it's inside the 10-meter line of the All Blacks as Faf de Klerk gets bullied off the ball there by the forwards of the All Blacks going over that ball. I'm not sure about that call, but the referee says play on. Aaron Smith has it. The advantage for the scrum penalty is also over. A backwards kick pass now out to the right wing, Will Jordan, who kicks it downfield, and that's out on the full on the far side. The line out will be to South Africa inside the All Blacks half. So as Faf de Klerk was trying to pick up that ball, Sam Cane just went in and grabbed it and bumped Faf de Klerk out of the way. So I'm not really sure about that call there. What do you think about that, Ken?
Yeah, de Klerk, you could see he did have a little inquiry with referee Reynal. But I think the fact that he had his hands on the ball, as long as Cane came from an onside position, he was okay.
Yeah, well, we'll see. Mbonambi into the line-out now to Kwagga Smith, who gets it to Faf de Klerk, who goes into the contact area and rumbles forward. And Damian Dalenda pops the ball up to who's that in possession? Looks like Jasper Visser. Untidy ball by the Springboks, carried by Cody Taylor, and the All Blacks are back in possession just outside their 22-meter line in the middle of the park. And Vincent Koch, you beauty, gets another holding on penalty right in front of the posts, just outside the 22-meter line. Very untidy ball there for the Springboks as Faf de Klerk was in contact on the floor and didn't get back to that ruck in time. And this time they're going to take the 3 points. 5 minutes left in the first half. And we hope Anis can join us soon.
Great work by Stephen Kitsoff again on the ground.
Yeah.
As,
just as Faf de Klerk arrived at the ruck, Cody Taylor picked the ball up that spurted out there, is not controlled at the ruck by South Africa, and Kitsoff was there to clean up the mess. And interestingly, once again, Faf de Klerk is going to take the penalty.
Yeah, it is a worry. The goal kicking situation in the Springbok team with Andre Pollard injured, of course.
Let's see what he does.
What is expected to be the whole of the Rugby Championship.
And de Klerk gets it over. So that's 3 points consolation prize to the Springboks. And they will have 5 minutes left in the first half to rectify the situation here with 2 tries to New Zealand and a penalty. And the Springboks only the one single penalty so far. 17 points to 3, New Zealand lead in Mount Smart. And they are outsmarting the Springboks at the moment. They're just out-muscling them as well. So New Zealand with a kickoff to the near side they go, and it's almost gathered by Colby, but it's knocked forward. And Aaron Smith sends it to Moanga, who gives it to Beauden Barrett into the hands of Brodie Retallick onto the 10-meter line, almost of the Springboks. They go to the other Barrett. They go, and there's a penalty for a lazy runner, offside player in the way of the All Blacks, and I regret to inform the South African fans that those 3 points will now soon be cancelled out with a penalty to New Zealand straight in the middle of the park on the 10-meter line, just behind the 10-meter line, just outside the 10-meter line of the Springboks. So
second time
Brodie Barrett
Aaron Smith
goes to ground. Aaron Smith passes the ball into Vincent Koch, who's trying to get back on side, and smile there from the fullback Beauden Barrett, and a nod to one of his teammates. New Zealand firmly in control of this match. 3 minutes left in the first half, and Richie Moanga will take aim at the posts from straight in front outside the 10-meter line. Thank you so much for listening, everybody. We do appreciate it, and we love bringing this game to you wherever you are. Let us know on Facebook and YouTube comments where you are listening from, and what do you think about the Springboks performance so far, and let us know if you're a New Zealand fan, of course. The kick by Moanga is through the posts, and it's 20 points to 3 now, the lead to New Zealand. Absolutely shocking performance by the Springboks compared to last week. But these guys in black, they sure know how to play the game, and they've done it really well so far. So it's a restart by the Springboks. New Zealand in possession just outside their 22 on the near side of the park. Smith goes out to Savia, I think it was there. And Smith once again out to Beauden Barrett, who kicks this one high and cross field, comes down just on the 10-meter line of New Zealand. And Mapimpi has it, fighting his way through as Faf de Klerk now pops it over the top with his left boot, gathered by Beauden Barrett and cleared once again downfield on the far side Faf de Klerk falls back to catch it just outside his own 10-meter line. Willie Leroux now in possession, sends it to Cheslin Colby, who's over the halfway line now, tries to outflank the All Blacks defense, but Cody Taylor gets him on the 10-meter line. Faf de Klerk is there, and the Springboks send it out to Willie Leroux, out to Vincent Koch, who gets tackled back. Faf de Klerk once again on the halfway line now, South Africa in the middle of the park. Willie Leroux, D'Alende, Damian Willemse now in possession, steps again and gets brought down inside the 10-meter line. Bongi Mbonambi sends it out to Jasper Visser, who gets taken down 3 strides in. Willie Leroux out to Lucanio who gets hammered as well. Faf de Klerk out to Makazolo Mapimpi, first receiver this time. Tries to step his way through but can't. Willie Leroux, first receiver, as D'Alende goes down on the far side of the park. They're edging towards the 22 of New Zealand. Willie Leroux out to Jasper Visser, who almost breaks through one tackle there, as New Zealand, I think, have gotten that possession back. No, Jasper Visser managed to smuggle it back to Faf de Klerk. Now Willie Leroux out to Lucanio He goes up to the 22 of New Zealand to Mapimpi, 15 meters in from the near side touchline. Faf de Klerk out to Willie Leroux once again, and Eben Etzebeth edges just over the 22 of New Zealand. Faf de Klerk out to Willie Leroux into the hands of Damian Willemse, who steps again through a few tackles but cannot get the offload. He's got some support there. Faf de Klerk in the middle of the park to Vincent Koch, who sends it to Lucanio Makazolo Mapimpi is on the right-hand side here looking for work on the near side of the field and gets tackled. He's held now, and there's an advantage to South Africa for, I think, what is a high tackle there on Makazolo Mapimpi. And the time is up in the half, but the Springboks have the penalty. 20 points to 3. Dangerous tackle, says the referee Renard of France. And the Springboks will set the line out. Damian Willems has the ball in his hands. They're going to try and see if they can salvage something to get back into this game. Trailing by 17 points in Auckland is never a good thing. You see there the Mark Telia with the high tackle on Makazolo Mapimpi. And Springboks set the line out 6 meters out from the All Blacks try line on the near side of the field. The line-out work has been dismal so far. This time it gets to Loet de Jager intact, and the Springboks set them all, but the defense is there by New Zealand. Their entire pack is defending this one, eking forward, edging forward. South Africans, no, says the referee, line-out is not over yet, and South Africa muscling their way into the 5-meter line. Now Bongi Mbonambi breaks to the short side on the near side here, but he's brought down. Faf de Klerk has the ball. Now they're going to pick and drive. Loet de Jager goes forward. Faf de Klerk, very predictable here by South Africa. Eben Etzebeth is waiting for the ball there with Vincent Koch standing right by him. He dives over the 5-meter line. Now Faf de Klerk into the hands of Jasper Visser, who goes down. And that is my feed gone. If you can take us through that, please, Ken. Well,
Eben Etzebeth has just gone on a storming run and is pulled down over the All Blacks try line. A pile of black jersey bodies all around him, so I'm not sure whether Etzebeth has managed to get that ball down. But the most prolonged period of pressure by the Springboks in this test match. And TMO Ben Whitehouse will now decide whether Etzebeth has scored the try or not. And absolutely vital, one feels, for South Africa to cut the deficit and go into half-time 10 or 12 points behind.
So let's see if they get this TV try, the Springboks. I personally thought they should have gotten the one that Colby scored. But nevertheless, here we are, and it's
it's been overturned.
My feed is
for a high
back
tackle
here, and a bad news here. It's a penalty to New Zealand, and that will be that. That will be 20 points to 3 for New Zealand, as Chantal Wiggles says, go New Zealand. I stay in South Africa, but love New Zealand. Thank you for the comment, Chantal, and your team is certainly doing you proud at the moment. So, not much to cheer about for the South African team right now. So, Anis is back. Yeah.
Yeah, Luke Tiaga had Adi Severe in a headlock at one of the rucks down in the left-hand corner. So we'll never know whether Eben Etzebeth got that ball down or not.
Well,
Story of the day. Story of the
yeah,
day, I guess. Yeah.
yeah,
But the
yeah,
Springboks finishing off
definitely.
very well, looking very dangerous, looking probing against this New Zealand team. That sets up something good maybe for the second half, I guess. Well, we hope.
Sure. I don't know, man. The way this All Black side has played, they've just absolutely murdered the Springboks on defence, and they've
Yeah.
been really good at the set pieces. The South African team cannot rely on their lineouts. They're not getting. They got that one advantage, but went so far downfield that they couldn't capitalize on the one scrum penalty that they did get. So maybe that will give them something to work with in the second half. Ken,
Look,
any final thoughts from you on the first half as we take a break and you'll go silent while we wait for the second half to start?
Before the match, everyone is raving about the power of the Springbok bench. They are certainly going to need it in this second half. I suppose the one good thing is that, as brilliant as the All Blacks have been, the Springboks have actually been poor. They've made a lot of basic errors. They've played nowhere to their potential. So, if they can sort out their own game, hang on to the ball like they did at the end there for several phases, they need to sort out the set pieces as well. And, I wouldn't be surprised if there are a few changes during the halftime break and even more after 10 minutes or so, just to try and pull this game out of the fire.
Yeah, if you look at it at one stage, Ken and I was telling Ken, the possessions, South Africa had 21% possession. I think after 26 minutes. Only 21%.
Yeah,
that means that you can't win a rugby game if you don't have the ball.
Yeah.
So yeah, but it's just how New Zealand controlled every facet of this game so far in that first 20 minutes. And that's where they got their points, because in the second 20 minutes, the latter second half of the first half, and New Zealand were kept relatively quiet. And as soon as South Africa got the ball, they looked dangerous, probing twice, two potential tries. And what a difference that would have made. 17-20 going into halftime. Yeah.
So that's it from us for the first half. Thank you very much for listening, everybody. We do appreciate your support, and we'll be back with the second half in about 8 or 10 minutes' time.
Everyone, sorry.
players are back on the field at the Mount Smart Stadium in Auckland. And we'll just wait for play to start here on my feed, as we see that Sam Cane seems to have some kind of issue. We'll keep track of the replacements. Doesn't seem to be anybody off the bench yet for the Springboks, as we are joined by Ken once again.
Yeah, and Dalton Papalili has joined the fray for the All Blacks, replacing Captain Sam Cane. So it'll be interesting to see who takes the armband for the All Blacks. Maybe Brodie Retallick, who recently joined the Centurion Club in terms of tests played, 100 caps for the great lock forward.
New Zealand with the kickoff, and Jasper Wiese takes it up into contact over the 22. He goes, supported well there. As Faf de Klerk is at the back of the ruck. Springboks playing from right to left now on our screens here. Faf de Klerk sends this one high up into the sky, and it's chased down, but caught well there by Moanga, as goes to Bowden Barrett on the halfway line. He's brought down in the middle of the park. Aaron Smith now out to Moanga, into the hands of Will Jordan, who goes to the far side into the hands of Brodie Retallick, who's brought down. Good clean out there by the All Blacks. Aaron Smith has control at the back as the Springboks try to push the ruck forward, and Aaron Smith now with the kick high up into the air. It comes down just inside the 10-meter line of the Springboks, gathered there by Talia. Will Smith, Aaron Smith out to Moanga, who sends this to wide open spaces on the near side as Mapimpi was out of position. It's over the touchline on the near side of the park, 20 meters out from the Springbok try line. Great take in the air by Talia there.
Once again, the All Blacks. Yeah, the All Blacks once again varying their game so brilliantly. We saw them keep ball in hand, some really threatening runs, and then the brilliant kick into the corner, pushing the Springboks back.
So Bongi and Mbonambi with the throw now, defensive line out. Let's see if they've gotten rid of the problems there. No contest by New Zealand, and South Africa send it out to Damien Dalenda right in front of his posts, 6 meters out from his try line, as Faf de Klerk is there. Sends it back into the hands of Damian Willemse, who kicks it out to the near side of the field, and it'll be a line out to New Zealand just outside the 22-meter line of the Springboks.
That was brilliant by the All Blacks. That was like an uncontested line-out, the version of an uncontested scrum. No one moved in the All Blacks line-out, and you could almost see the shock in the Springbok forwards. The Springbok team didn't really know what to do. Everything seemed a bit taken by surprise there, but they did manage to clear their lines eventually.
No contest this time by the Springboks as Retallick goes up to take this one. The maul by the All Blacks now approaching the 22 of the Springboks. Cody Taylor in possession at the back, 5 meters from the near side touchline. Smith gets it and sends it out to Bowden Barrett, who gets it into the hands of Will Jordan, 6 meters from the Springbok try line. The ball goes forward out of his hands, and Damien Dalenda and Lucanio clean it up. Now the Springboks are running it. Colby with possession, and the referee brings them back for the knock-on. Woo, that was so close there. Will Jordan cutting into the line and cutting the Springbok defense apart as he's brought down just 6 meters from the try line and loses the ball in possession, with Lucanio popping it back to Damien Dalenda into the hands of Colby, but the referee brings them back because there was a knock-on by the Springboks as well.
Those inside balls close to the rack to Will Jordan have caused absolute mayhem tonight, and the Springbok defence really not dealing at all well with them.
And the replacements are coming onto the field for the Springboks. RG Snyman and Malcolm Marx are on. Loot de Jager and Bongi and Mbonambi will give way.
First of many changes, I would suggest, Otto.
Well, something needs to change for the Springboks, and the All Blacks will hope that things carry on as they were. And Will Jordan just running at
Well,
pace.
they certainly started the second half like the first.
Yep. On the 5 meter line of the Springboks, right in front of the posts. The scrum is set. So let's see if the Springboks can clear their lines here. Also on the field, Dalton Papali'i, as we've mentioned, in place of the captain for New Zealand, Sam Cane. And Evan Etzebeth looking resolute as he's kneeling down with RG Snyman to lock the scrum. Faf de Klerk spins the ball on his finger as they wait for the scrum to set. And the ball goes into the scrum. Very steady by both teams. No real movement of the scrum. The ball is available, says the referee, and tells Faf to use it. And he sends it out to Willie Leroux with the left boot to the near side touchline. The ball goes to the halfway line. And the referee's assistant on the near side of the park will set the line out. Probably, it's just about on the halfway line. New Zealand will have the throw into the line out. And Mario Jooste says, come on, Bokke, get some points. From your lips to God's ears. Pieter-Steph du Toit is also now on the park. Not sure who he has replaced. We'll check that for you soon. It's Frank Mostert, Franco Mostert, who's replaced. Mm-hmm. Yeah, who's replaced by Pieter-Steph du Toit. As New Zealand throw this to the other Barrett, Geordie Barrett, and this time it's Aaron Smith now in the middle of the park to Brodie Retallick as Faf de Klerk almost gets the intercept there, but he knocks it on, and that'll be a scrum to New Zealand. That pass that went from Aaron Smith, from Brodie Retallick, to Will Jordan once again, and as he tried to pop it out to Shannon Frizzell, standing on the near side touchline, Faf de Klerk got in the way there, and the referee saying that he did have a realistic chance of catching that, so it's not a deliberate knockdown, it's a knock-on, and a scrum to New Zealand, 15 meters in from the near side touchline, just inside the New Zealand half. 35 minutes.
Yeah, Faf de Klerk, the one Springbok today, who has looked sharp and up for the contest.
Still 20 points to 3 New Zealand lead. And it is Aaron Smith with the ball on the far side of the scrum. Puts it in, and it's once again very steady by both teams. Smith has it, sends it to Moanga, who gives it to Barrett into the line as Visa there tried to get the ball. Geordie Barrett goes up to the halfway line, out once again by Smith, knocked on by number 8, Adi Savia on the halfway line, 15 meters from the far side touchline, and it will be a scrum to the Springboks. So better defense this in these few phases here by the Springboks. They were absolutely in the face there of Adi Savia, Cheslin Colby and RG Snyman doing good work there on defense as Dwayne Vermeulen comes running on to replace Jasper Visa. Visa has had a few carries, but he has just been tackled backwards by New Zealand every time he touches the ball. He had a few half breaks in the first half, but as you rightly pointed out there, Ken, it's probably only Faf de Klerk who can say he's had a good game so far for the Springboks.
Yeah, the loose chair really hasn't had the impact that the Springboks would have hoped for. And I mean, we've now got Dwayne Vermeulen and Pieter-Steph du Toit on, who played very well last weekend against the Wallabies. I dare say Kwagga Smith should be feeling the heat a bit because Marco van Staden last weekend as well.
Yeah, and it's a scrum penalty to the Springboks. Faf de Klerk sends it out to the blind side on the far side of the field. Cheslin Colby is down on the 10-meter line now to RG Snyman, to Willie Leroux, and it's into the hands of Malcolm Marks, who sends it back to Faf de Klerk once again. Damian Willemse to Willie Leroux, who pops this ball out on the near side touchline. A little bit more promising there by the Springboks, not the one pass ruck that they usually present, and it's the scrum penalty to the Springboks just inside the New Zealand half, 15 meters from the far side touchline. 33 minutes left to play in the match. 20 points to 3, New Zealand lead. So we can see the handling errors and the penalties pretty much even, Stephen, at the moment. The Springboks have managed to claw back the penalty count. Faf de Klerk with the left foot goes to the far side touchline, and it's out in goal. So that will be a scrum, I think, to New Zealand, or a free kick. I'm not sure which one it will be, but it's a bad mistake there by Faf de Klerk. He tried to go for the corner flag, but just too straight with the kick there, and it goes out in goal.
Scrum or line out, I guess. The All Blacks can choose. Back from where Faf de Klerk kicked it.
Yeah, but, so they've got possession back. They've got the scrum to New Zealand, and only one replacement for them so far. Sam Cane having some kind of injury. He was lying he was lying face down on the ground, kicking his feet. So I guess something around his face or his neck might have gone wrong. There, the scrum goes down at the first attempt, and the referee says they'll have a reset there. So hopefully the Springboks can get another penalty from the scrum. Tyrell Lomax facing up to Stephen Kitsoff, and he was the one who went straight to ground there, Lomax, but the referee saying they're going to reset that scrum. 30 minutes left in the game. And Ken, you can take over the play-by-play for the next 10 minutes.
So All Blacks will have the scrum field 10 metres in from the far touchline. Both front rows still the same as in the first half, except for Malcolm Marx on a hooker for the Springboks, just inside New Zealand's half, and Aaron Smith waits patiently for the ball as he's hassled by Faf de Klerk. Maunga puts the big kick in down the middle of the field. Cheslin Colby knocked on the rebound on with the dive, though I think he did. Great recovery. De Klerk to LaRue, to Damien Diolande, who stabs through towards the closing touchline. Will Jordan slides and gathers the ball really nicely on the halfway line. And it's come loose, but tidied up by Brodie Retallick to Maunga, to Geordie Barrett, who steps inside. Smith now to the short side, and Bowen Barrett launches an up and under just inside the Springboks half. Well taken by Damien Willemse, who jinks, but is tackled by Geordie Barrett. Back it comes for de Klerk. Willie LaRue at fly half. Skip pass to Peter Steph du Toit. Inside the All Blacks half, LaRue again pulling the strings at first receiver, makes the half break. Faf de Klerk has tripped over Brodie Retallick, who was lying on the wrong side of the rack, and referee Reynal has awarded a penalty to the Springboks, but Faf de Klerk looks like he's injured his shin.
Yeah, he went down like a sack of potatoes there, and he's up again on his feet now, and his right knee has some issue. So we see there that he tried to jump over Brodie Retallick and then just twisted his knee as he went flying through the air and face down at the back of the ruck as he tried to get to the ruck there to clean it out. And Grant Williams now on the park.
Worryingly for Faf was that he kind of grabbed his knee even before he landed on the ground, which suggests that it must be some sort of twist or tear. Let's hope not, because he's been one of the few shining lights for the Springboks today, as we see Tamaiti Williams warming up on the side of the field. The All Blacks announced this week that the debutant would be their heaviest All Black ever, weighing in at 140 kilograms, as the Springboks have set the line out from the penalty.
Yeah, Malcolm Marx on the far side of the park.
Yeah, they're about 12 metres from the New Zealand goal line. Almost a full line out for the Springboks. Achilles Snowman takes at the front and they set the maul, but it's gone to ground very quickly, and the All Blacks are streaming through, fighting for the ball. Williams digs it out, goes blind, ducks inside, but is met by heavy fire from the All Blacks defence. Gets the ball back, marks to Kitsoff, ducks the shoulder and makes perhaps a yard. And referee Reynal has penalised the All Blacks for an illegal jackal attempt, the hands going down on the ground beyond the ball.
Another line-out set.
Yeah, he will just pop it into touch from a few metres away. It's going to be a line-out to the Springboks, perhaps 6 metres away. I think it was Brodie Retallick who slid his hands back to try and affect the turnover, which is illegal, of course. Michael Marks with the line-out, this time Snyman again in the front of the line-out, and this time the maul is kind of turning towards the blind side, but now it swings back. Malcolm Marks has it at the back. They've got some momentum this time. Inside 5 metres, and over the line they go. It's Malcolm Marks who has scored the Springboks' first try in the 54th minute.
Excellent work there by the Springbok back. They managed to twist and turn the maul and just get that little edge as they went side to side there a little bit, and then came streaming through the middle, and Malcolm Marks in full control there of that ball as he goes down about 6 metres from the far side touchline over the try line. 8 points to the Springboks, 20 points to New Zealand.
Yeah, good to see them just shifting the point of contact a bit in the maul. The All Blacks have really defended the maul really well so far, but just those subtle little shifts, as you say, Otto, really making the difference there. So 20 points to 8. It's a slightly tricky conversion, which Cheslin Colby is now taking. He has kicked 2 conversions and 5 penalties for the Springboks before, so he does have some experience with the boot at goals.
See what he does with this one. He slips as he kicks it, but it's over. Nice work.
Yeah, he really did twist, and remarkably a very good kick by Colby. So 20 points to 10, and South Africa perhaps are clawing their way back into this game. We're immediately seeing the replacements making an impact as expected.
20 points to 10 now, New Zealand lead, and Tokeau is on for Taylor for New Zealand.
Yeah, the live wire All Black Soccer, what a great year he had last year as the kickoff goes into the right-hand corner for the Springboks, very well taken by Peter Steph Dutoy in the air. Grant Williams is just moving Springbok legs so he can get decent access to the ball, pulls it back with his boot, and then passes to Willem, so he spreads it to Leroux, to Dialende, to Lukanya who will then kick from the other side of the field. It's a very good kick by Lukanya, and he's taken play all the way inside the All Blacks 10-metre line.
Really good surprise play there by the Springboks. Looked like they were running it from their own goal line as we see play continue.
As it's a short line out taken by Ethan de Groot at the front. Aaron Smith taps it on to Will Jordan. Springboks storming into the ruck. They've just got to be careful that they keep their feet though. Marcus Smith fighting hard, repelled by Brodie Retallick. But the All Blacks are really struggling to get this ball out before Takahayo picks it up and makes a couple of metres. And the ball will now be a bit tidier for the All Blacks. Smith passes back into his 22 to Maunga, who kicks it up and under towards the far touchline. Jason Colby again can't gather. It's back on the All Black side. Richie Maunga is swamped by Springboks. Perhaps Colby didn't knock it on there. But the All Blacks now have the penalty for South Africa going off their feet at the rack. So interesting that the All Blacks kicking contestables from their own 22 nearly got themselves into trouble there. But a relieving penalty into the 57th minute of this Rugby Championship match, and New Zealand lead by 20 points to 10. Not a great touch finder there by Bowden Barrett. He's only gained about 20 metres or so, but it's enough to take the All Blacks marginally into the Springboks half, as Tokai will have his first line-out throw of the day, of the match. Short line-out called by the All Blacks, taken by Scott Barrett, and they spread it to midfield. Smith again, hassled by Kwaka Smith, and Shannon Frizzell is swamped by Peter Steph du Toit and tackled by Damien Willemse. Smith digs it out to Papali'i. Mounga under pressure, gets it away, brilliant, great hands. To Jordan Barrett, to Talea, out wide, to Ardi Savia, who cuts infield. Smith again to Mounga, short ball to Ethan de Groot, who tries to bump off Erge Sneman, but is unsuccessful. All Blacks getting back Mounga just over the halfway line. And the Springboks wrestling hard for every ball. Kwaka Smith trying to counter ruck, but I think he might have come in from the side of that ruck, and referee Raynal certainly agrees with that. Smith protesting, but haven't often seen a referee change his decision, Otto.
Sorry, I missed that part a little bit there, Ken, as my internet connection went for a walkabout.
Yes,
it's good to see that the Springboks are up the noses of the All Blacks for a change.
Yeah, they just have to keep their discipline at the same time, though, because these penalties are relieving pressure. And the All Blacks will now have a penalty from just inside South Africa's half. Richie Mo'unga is going to kick for poles, actually, just to settle things down on fields.
So let's see if we can get this over. Mm-hmm.
He's a metre or
Mario
two
Houston
to the left.
saying, nice try, Booker. Go get some more. You guys can do it in the second half.
From a metre or two to the left of the centre spot. And just inside the Springboks half, Richie Mo'unga.
Off centre.
Yeah, lining up a long-range kick here. He's kicked 4 out of 4 tonight. So will just be a perfect 5 for him. He's struck it well. It looks pretty straight. And it's over. So New Zealand stretched their lead to 23-10 as we approach the hour mark. It's a pity that for the Springboks, because you feel they were putting the All Blacks under a bit of pressure there. And instead of getting points themselves, they've conceded 3. As Damien Willemse restarts towards the far touchline, midway into the All Blacks 22, taken by Geordie Barrett. And Finlay Christie is now on the field for Aaron Smith at scrum half, as he just directs his forwards to get a bit of a caterpillar going and give him a bit of space for the kick, which he launches, and he has found touch. Perhaps midway between the 10 metre and 22 metre lines. And we do indeed have the heaviest All Black of all time now on the field. Tamaiti Williams, the prop, comes on for his debut. He's All Black number 1,208. As Malcolm Marx feeds the line out, a bit of deception there by the Springboks. Peter Steph du Toit takes it out to Dwayne Vermeulen, charges forward, just short of the 22. Peter Steph du Toit comes around the side, short pass to Erge Sneman, whose passes on the bounce to Damien Willemse, who goes blind. Willie Leroux, he's running down in Lee, he passes to Cheslin Colby, he cuts back inside him. Oh, it's a great tackle by Scott Barrett on Colby, bit of a mismatch there. But Springboks recycled. Du Toit looking for an offload. Goes to ground and recycles. Grant Williams digs it out. Willemse out the back to Willie Leroux, to Dialendi, to Lukanyam, who straightens the line and also makes a few meters in the process. Good work by him. Williams now to Leroux. Flat ball, marginally might even have been forward to Eben Etzebeth, who fights his way forward. Williams to Leroux again. Good defence by the All Blacks. They're certainly meeting the challenge here, but the Springboks out wide to Colby. Space, he dives over the last defender and he's over the try line. Brilliant work by South Africa's ace winger. The Angus Gardner is just having a chat to Matera now, but I don't think it's about the try. I think one of the players might have trodden on the referee's foot, which is always very painful. So it looks like Cheslin Colby is now going to try and convert his own try. He might have tweaked a calf right now as well. Actually, he's just seems to be doing some flexing down there. RD Severe just having a word with him. But it was great work by the Springboks. They went right, they went left, and they're going to probably recheck Willie Leroux's long pass out wide to Cheslin Colby. It probably did drift forward, but what did it do out of the hands? It looks pretty flat from some angles. Colby finishing in spectacular fashion, diving over Richie Maunga to get in the corner. And it looks like the try is going to stand. So 23-15, the score now. Cheslin Colby getting his 12th try in his 24th test match. So what a remarkable finisher he is. And now we'll see how remarkable he is with the boot as he tries to kick this touchline conversion to narrow the gap to just 6 points at Mount Smart. There's Colby coming in now. He's struck it. It's curling back in. Hits the near post. Just didn't quite come back enough. So the score will remain 23-15. But Cheslin Colby has brought the Springboks back into this game. And a good period of pressure by them. Finally managing to hang on to the ball for a long period of time. 63 minutes gone as Makazole Mapimpi, who's frankly has looked a bit out of sorts today, has been replaced by Marnie Libok as Dwayne Vermeulen takes the restart and rumbles over the 22-metre line. Grant Williams busy directing traffic. Springboks won't be able to kick directly into touch, so they set another maul for Thomas Dutoy is on the field. He rumbles forward. Williams digs and launches the up and under. It's going to come down just short of the 10-metre line. Tapped back by the All Blacks and taken in by Shannon Frizzell. Mark Talier now gets the ball fighting hard. He's held up by Vincent Koch, I fancy, who has been told to release now because the knee's on the ground. Christie to Scott Barrett, to Monga, out the back to Bowden Barrett. A long pass to... That's great work by Rico Arnie there. Good hands to get it out wide. And the All Blacks now go back infield on the halfway line. Finley Christie goes short side. Bowden Barrett, jinking, gets into the Springbok half but is tackled. And a good counter ruck here by the Springboks. Damien Dialendi. Ball pops up the back, the All Black side. Geordie Barrett out the back to Maunga. To Mark Tillea. Jinking off, shanks off Eben Etzebeth onto the 10-metre line. Christie again to the short side, and Maunga will now launch a kick down the line to Willie Leroux, who takes comfortably on his own 10-metre line. And now the All Blacks are counter-rucking. Willie Leroux with his hand on the ball, and not much doubt about the penalty there. And just a microcosm perhaps of this entire game there. The All Blacks counter-rucking with such accuracy and efficiency that referee Reynal very quickly gave them the penalty. The Springboks, their counter-ruck efforts a bit less well directed, a bit more frenetic, and they haven't had the reward as Geordie Barrett kicks the ball to the near side touchline, and the All Blacks will have the line out. It's about 2 metres inside South Africa's 22-metre line. 65 minutes gone. 23-15 the All Blacks lead. To the front of the line out to Ardy Savia. Christie now to Will Jordan, jinking, and brought out just outside the 22. Short ball from Christie to Shannon Frizzell, who is met by stern defence. Christie again. The Springboks up quickly in defence, keeping the All Blacks outside of their 22. Christie to Scott Barrett. Good tackle by Damien Willemse, brings him down quickly. Christie will go to the short side again. Savia. Christie back to the left. Scott Barrett. Ball inside to Brodie Retallick. They're inside the 22 now, the All Blacks. Christie to Maunga. Gets a low pass. But untidy by the All Blacks, and they're back outside the 22-metre line now. Again, Malcolm Marks at the forefront of the counter-rucking. The ball goes out the back to Maunga, to Bowden Barrett, who puts a little chip kick through that will go out into touch. 2 metres inside the Springbok 22. And the assistant referee has picked up that Cheslin Colby just got a little boot to the ball as Bowden Barrett kicked it through. So it'll be a line out to the All Blacks. Good attacking position for them. Samisoni Tokoayo prepares to throw in. The All Blacks at the moment have kind of split the line out with 4 people in the front and then another pod of 3 much further back. And it goes to the back of the line out to Shannon Frizzell. The front pod comes around and they set them all and they're rumbling forward here. But the All Blacks the Springboks rather, have regathered and have stopped them all. So the ball goes out to Geordie Barrett, who's brought down on the 22-metre line. Christie, short ball to Frizzell. Christie again to Dalton Papaili. Evades the tackle of Peter Steph du Toit and ducks under the 22. Lipo Lalala, the other replacement prop, carries. Papalili at halfback now. Springbok defence really quickly up into the All Blacks' faces. They're battling to get into the 22. Bowden Barrett tries some fancy footwork, but is taken down. Christie again to Scott Barrett. Peter Steph du Toit making countless tackles in a short space of time here. Now the All Blacks go wide. Geordie Barrett to Brodie Retallick. All Blacks busy recycling. Christie again to Ardy Savia. 12 phases now, this All Black attack. And now the chip kick from Bowden Barrett out wide. It bounces kindly to Will Jordan, who taps it and regathers and has gone over in the corner. The assistant referee, Mr. Roussel, just giving his countryman Mathieu Reynal a thumbs up to say that the try was good. So the Springboks defending for a dozen phases very slightly, almost inevitably just getting a bit wide. Bowden Barrett put the little chip kick in. It bounced. Will Jordan juggled, but very quickly got the ball under control again. And then it was just a matter of falling over the try line for him as Vinnie Leroux was too late coming across. So a relieving try for the All Blacks there. They've been under some pressure in this second half. But from being 23-15 down, up rather, they now stretch their lead to 28-15.
Yeah, that was an excellent team try there by the All Blacks. And once again, that man, Will Jordan, getting the job done. Thank you so much, Ken, for holding the fort while everything around me crumbled into dust. But I seem to be back now.
Your dog sounded like it was having fun.
Mwanga lines up the conversion. Steps forward, hits it well, and it's through the middle. It's a 15-point lead now. The Springboks need to score 3 times to get back in touch with the All Blacks, and if they want to win this game. And you see that replay there of that cross kick by Bowden Barrett, was it? And excellent finishing work there by Jordan.
quite astonishing that Will Jordan has 22 tries in 22 test matches now.
So let's see if the Springboks can salvage something here towards the end of the match. There's a scrum to New Zealand just inside their half. Finlay Christie, replacement scrum half, has the ball. Ready to set the scrum. And it's a steady one now for both teams as the scrum goes down now, but the ball is available, and the referee says that was the Springboks' fault. It's a penalty to the All Blacks, just inside their half and towards the near side of the field. And taps on the back there for Tamaiti Williams, the heaviest All Black player ever, as Ken pointed out earlier.
And apparently, Otto, he lost 10 kilograms in the off-season.
So the penalty kick goes to the near side touchline, and it's a line out to New Zealand, 6 or 7 meters from the Springbok try line. And with 5 minutes left to play, that will be that. New Zealand will win this game, and they are once again on the attack as it goes to Ritalik, who pops it over, and it's cleaned up by Dalton Papuali'i for the All Blacks as they now pick and go forward with Adi Savia taking it up to the 5 meter line, almost there. Pick and go now by New Zealand. They are tackled back by the Springboks. Ball is out to the back, and it is Tamaiti Williams who gets it forward for the All Blacks. And Adi Savia pops it up for another pick and go there. It's stolen by Kwagga Smith, and he forces his way back over the 5 meter line, but the referee has stopped play. And Samisoni Tukilau having some pushing and shoving there with Kwagga Smith, but the referee says that the Springboks didn't roll away from the tackle, and it's another penalty to New Zealand, and now they've called another scrum. So not afraid to take on the Springboks up front and winning the physical battle here in New Zealand. So Kwagga Smith got a good turnover there, but the Springboks penalised for not rolling away. And Kwagga Smith stayed nice and calm there. Lukhanyo almost got involved, but nothing doing there. So it will be a scrum to New Zealand. They've elected to scrum instead of taking the penalty kick to set up the line out. 4 minutes left in the game. New Zealand strong on attack and killing any hopes of South Africa getting a bonus point even in this match.
Well, that's an indictment of how well the All Blacks have fared in the scrums today, that they're willing to...
And New Zealand break to the short side, to the near side. Smith to Mo'unga, and Mo'unga jaunts over the line, strolls over, you could say. It's 35 points to 15 now for the All Blacks. Good try there by Richie Mo'unga, and just rubbing more hand sanitizer into the paper cuts for the Springboks.
Well, that was just embarrassingly easy for the All Blacks. Damian Willems rushed out in defence, but was too narrow. And Richie Mo'unga got around him with absolute ease.
Yeah, it was a pick-up at the back by Adi Savia, and Mo'unga came peeling around the side at pace. And, Damian Willems there missing that tackle completely. And it's now looking like boys against men here for the Springboks. And they've crumbled in the face of this onslaught by New Zealand today. I think more of what you said after the first half, Ken, that the Springboks didn't really play that well. It's just that too many errors, too many basic mistakes so far. Let's see if they can make something happen in the last 2.5 minutes as Mo'unga lines up the conversion of his own try. He's about 10 meters in from the near side touchline, strikes it, but hooks it to the left, and that will be 35-15. 2 minutes left in the match, and the New Zealand supporters are dancing and singing in the stands, as well they should. The team has done them proud today. So South Africa with another kick-off. Mani Lebok has the ball in the middle of the park, sends it to the middle of the field. It's coming down inside the 22, where it's caught by Bowden Barrett, sends it out to Caleb Clark, who goes dancing around the side there looking for space. Christie picks it up after he's tackled, and they go forward once again up to their 22-meter line. Christie with the pass out to Mo'unga, with the pass out the back to Bowden Barrett with a chip over the top now, almost gathered by Braden Enor there, but Grant Williams has it for the Springboks. Mani Lebok on the near side of the field, pops it back inside for Damian Dalenda, who peels around, goes over the 22-meter line. He's absolutely swarmed by All Blacks. They strip the ball from him, and they've got it back. And it goes to the middle of the park now, where Mo'unga gets it back once again, but he's tackled behind the advantage line by, once again, Peter-Steph du Toit. I wonder how many tackles he's made so far. 1 minute left to play. Christie sends it out to Tukilau, and Christie gets it at the back. No, it's Kwagga Smith who picks it up, and he's over the try line for a try to the Springboks. And what a steal there by Kwagga Smith. Robs that ball from the hands of Finlay Christie and gets it over for another try to the Springboks. It's 35 points to 20.
Well, too little too late for the Springboks, but at least they will probably have the final say in this game. Oh my word. They were trying to speed things up. Philly LaRue trying to drop kick the conversion, and he's hit it into the post.
Oh no.
So they obviously had hopes of trying to get another try after the hooter for a bonus point. But alas, all in vain. Much like that very good effort by Kwagga Smith.
No, that was awesome. Do-it-yourself try there by Kwagga Smith, picking the ball up from the back of the ruck. The referee seems to allow the players to do that in this match. So Kwagga Smith, very, very sharpish there. But the story of the day there, Philly LaRue with a drop kick from straight in front, knocks it into the pole, into the right-hand upright. and it stays 35-20 to New Zealand. So it will be Beauden Barrett with the kickoff for New Zealand. He sends it up to the far side of the park, where it is gathered by Cheslin Colby, who's running forward now. There's defenders coming around to catch him. Finley Christie gets him from behind in the end, and it's just on the 22-meter line over the far side touchline. Time is up, and the referee will blow the final whistle, and that will be that. The end of the match. 35 points to 20, New Zealand with a comprehensive, convincing win. Sparks of brilliance here and there for the Springboks, but overall, bad performance by the Springboks. Bad start, bad lineouts, and some average defending as well.
Yeah, it's all very well trying to overpower teams, but when you've got a team like the All Blacks who can match you in the physical exchanges, you've got to bring something else to the party, and that something else is generally skills or plans. And this South African team really just made far too many basic mistakes, far too many errors, just not clinical enough. The All Blacks were superb. Let's be honest, They varied their game brilliantly, the All Blacks. I dare say in that first half, a lot of the Springboks looked a bit rusty, looked a bit underdone. And maybe even the guys who played against Australia with the travelling, looked a bit off their best as well. There were some promising signs towards the end of the first half and early in the second half. But South Africa only really played well for 10, 15 minutes of this match. And the scoreline reflects that. It's good to see the Faf de Klerk walking around pretty freely after the whistle. So hopefully his knee injury is not too bad.
Yes, indeed. So thank you very much, everybody, for your support. Let us know what you think in the comments on Facebook and YouTube. And we will be back for the next Springbok match. In the meantime, on our YouTube channel and Facebook, just make sure that you switch on the notifications there, because the Full Quota podcast, of course, also broadcast live. And the Cheap Seats podcast, which is our football podcast, is also on this channel. So watch out for that. Let's hope that the Springboks can get their act together and iron out those mistakes, because they were quite poor as far as basic rugby skills were concerned there. So let's hope that they can improve in the next match. And that's all from my side. Any more thoughts from you, Ken, or shall we say that's that for our broadcast as well?
No, I think we can go cry into our beers. Disappointing day for South African supporters, but I guess for rugby lovers, it was good to watch the All Blacks
they were
put on a really proper display of rugby today.
Agreed. And with that, we'll bid you farewell, and we'll see you next time. Cheers, everyone.
Goodbye.